episode 336 of Global from Asia, talking about dropshipping and the story of building an empire with Nick Perrone. It's a good one. Let's tune in.
Welcome to the Global from Asia podcast, where the daunting process of running an international business is broken down into straight up actionable advice. And now, your host, Michael Michelini.
Thank you, everybody, for choosing to watch or listen to this. Seems like listening is still more popular, but we have this video here. If you're watching the video version, you'll see a Chinese kid drawing behind me with Chinese characters, and my daughter, I don't know, made that or painted that or glued it together, and it means child life, basically like small life. I feel like we're all kind of going back to the basics in life, like 2020 is almost over. Can't wait. What a year. Honestly, looking forward to getting to the next one. Think positive. But, I think we all went through quite a lot, so we should be proud of surviving 2020. There's memes and stuff around there of like before 2020 and after. We've all probably been through a lot in our life, in our businesses. I do hope everybody's doing fine. So today we're talking about drop shipping. I know sometimes that gets a little bit of a negative name with a lot of these Facebook ads you get from people saying make millions on drop shipping and, drop shippings. But this is an amazing topic, an amazing guest, Nick Perrone. I've had a pleasure to see him. He's spoken at many events I've been to, and he is really an expert. He practices what he preaches. He does amazing seminars, and he's also doing it himself. And he has a great community for e-commerce people, dropshippers, and using Facebook ads. So it's really an amazing treat for all of you. So I do hope you enjoy. And he gives some amazing value. We did this also live streaming. We had some great guests members in our GFA VIP community engaging with him afterwards. So that wasn't in this session, unfortunately, but this is an amazing one where you get to really hear some insights of his story and tips and tricks. And I know a lot of people always wonder, how do I get started? Where do I go from? We talk about that a lot in this interview. And then after, I'll give a little bit insight on my first dropship e-commerce business and some of the pros and cons that I went through myself, just a little bit in the outro. All right, let's tune in. Take it away, Nick. So I'm starting a new Amazon business, not yet ready to say publicly, but one thing I'm doing is I'm applying for Mercury.com. It's an online e-commerce friendly USA banking solution. And I'm using that to apply for my Seller Central right now. And it got virtual debit cards, physical debit cards. They're an official partner at GFA Partner Program. And we actually have a bonus for you, cash bonus. And it's totally free to apply. If you use our special link and apply, you'll get a cash bonus as well as us. So it's a win-win, and I am using it myself. Check them out. If you want to go at globalfromasia.com/Mercury, you'll see a special tutorial I made as well as that link for that cash bonus as of at least 2020. I'll try my best to keep that going for as long as I can, but I'm confident to recommend them and check them out. They support the show. I'm assuming this is streaming. Thanks, Michael and Angelica, for your help. This is one, I think we're at, what is it, our fourth live stream now, third or fourth, and still adjusting to these, but I think they're fun. They're ways for us to engage more with the community and make things happen. So, all right, let's see what. We're waiting for Nick. Oh, Nick's here. Okay, great. Thanks for coming on today.
Cool. Happy to be here. What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah, we're doing good. You're staying busy as always, and it's great to finally have you on the show. And even talk to you since we met last time in Manila. So that felt like years ago, but it's been only a few months, really, right? Was that March, right? Or maybe February?
It seems like so long ago now. I know that was right before you were leaving back for China.
Yeah. And now you're in Cebu, right? Down in Cebu now?
Mm-hmm. In Cebu, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so yeah, let's just dive right in. Okay, so this is Nick Perrone, the founder of Ecom Empires. I've gotten to know you in over the years from you're doing amazing speaking around the world about e-commerce and building online businesses and contributing a lot of value to the online e-commerce community. So it's really a pleasure to have you on Global from Asia podcast today. Thanks for coming on, Nick.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the intro and looking forward to talking with you.
Sure. So I guess let's go from the beginning. Today there's so much we can talk about, of course. I mean, you have amazing knowledge and experience, both doing your own e-commerce businesses, being an advisor and training and doing these amazing things you do. So there's so much we could talk about, but I thought today would be kind of a cool little discussion about the story, getting into e-commerce and also maybe even talk about what you think the future is, in a post-COVID in a new world. So I think, maybe some people are curious. How did you get into the game? How did you get into the e-com world?
Yeah, definitely. So I got started years ago. Actually, I've been doing this for 4 years now when it comes to selling e-commerce online, primarily drop shipping. But I got started, basically like anybody gets started, I guess. I was living in Philadelphia and I was already working on a business, but it was a photo booth business actually, and I was building it with a business partner.
Oh,
That was first my first business that I had started, and it was going really well. We actually over 3 years we built that into $1 million company. It was the first thing that allowed me to leave the 9 to 5 life, but it was
congrats.
very stressful, right? It wasn't giving me the freedom I wanted, and then it was right around the beginning of 2016 that I heard about this drop shipping trend that was starting. People were finding products on AliExpress, setting up stores on Shopify, and using Facebook ads. And I was addicted immediately. As soon as I saw this, I was like, wow, this is crazy. People are making thousands of dollars a month without having to talk to anybody or deal with angry clients or anything. So, yeah, that was pretty much the start for me. Beginning of 2016, I jumped in, started my first store, and things went really well. And then it was later that year that I started Ecom Empires, because after I had this success and I got this freedom that I wanted, I started traveling and doing things. And I was like, I need to share this with other people. So I started Ecom Empires, where I created videos to show people what I was doing for free. And the rest is history. 4 years later now, Ecom Empires is 94,000 people. Been around the world to like 20 different countries speaking at events, and I love it. It's an amazing business model. Just feel grateful, the time we lived in to be able to do this and have these kinds of opportunities.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? It's really, really amazing. So, yeah, I mean, if I followed your journey, and so then you're in Philippines now, right? And I'm
Mhm.
in China, like we said earlier, but I also have a really good, close heart with Philippines and friends and team members, and maybe, how did that happen? How did you get down to the Philippines?
Well, I did an event here in 2018. I was invited to, we put a mastermind together here. And when that event was done, I met a girl here. So, you know how that story goes. I kept
Ah,
coming back. I kept coming back here, started dating, and eventually just settled down here. I've been here now for about 2 years, I guess, living here. And now I live in Cebu, living at a home here in Cebu. And I like it. I like the lifestyle here, and I like Southeast Asia in general. But yeah, Philippines is a cool place. I haven't been able to travel as much because of the COVID restrictions, but I still
yeah,
I still enjoy still enjoy living
yeah.
here.
Yeah, this COVID stuff, but I feel you, man. I mean, yeah, Southeast Asia and Philippines got a great vibe. Really, really, Filipinos are very kind people, right? I mean, they're very, you know, mm, trying to find the right word, but they're very caring. They have heart. I think they put their heart into what they
Mhm.
do usually. And it's great that you're helping. We also met at some sessions where you've done some training, and it's great to help develop the Philippine community for getting more people selling online. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I think niche selection is always, I don't know about you, but I think that's a common question I always get. How do you find the right product niche? It seems like the top, top questions. I don't know, what's your common answer for somebody asking, how do I know what niche to go into, what product?
I think there's really two different ways to look at it. For somebody who's just getting started, because right now e-commerce is an amazing opportunity. The silver lining to entrepreneurs getting started from COVID is that online shopping is booming right now. Like it's unprecedented how much opportunity there is. And so if you're new and you're getting started, the challenge is like, one, what niche, but also what kind of store do I start? Like, how do I really approach this selling products? And if you're going to use a strategy where you're selling through social media with something like Facebook ads, then it's different than, say, if you're starting an Amazon store or something using Google traffic where there's search intent, right? So you could really look at it two ways. If you're starting on a platform where there's search intent, then you want to look at search volumes, right? You want to find some kind of tool so you can see search volumes to get an idea based on research. What are people looking for? Where is the opportunity here? But if you're doing what I do and you want to sell using social ads, then it's really an impulse thing, right? You're appealing to people's emotions, whatever it is you're selling. And I usually recommend now, what works really well is starting with one product instead of just starting with an entire niche. If you know your niche and you know what you want to do, that's fantastic. But if you're going into drop shipping, it's a lot easier to just find one really good product, one product that solves a problem, or one product that improves the convenience of somebody's life, and building a store, just a one product store around that. And later you can expand the product line into the niche if you want to. But this is actually, I didn't always do it this way, but as of this year, one product stores have been crushing it for me. And people might be surprised, but you can build $1 million store selling just one product. And if it does really well, you could expand that, right? You could start to expand the product line, find related items, turn it into a niche category store. But I think it's easier to just start out finding one proven, really good product that solves some sort of pain point or problem for people, and then build from there.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that because I think it's kind of true. I mean, a lot of times back in the day, people would just import tons of products with a plugin, from AliExpress, and just have these huge stores right off the bat with like scraping pictures. But I think those days are gone, maybe. And I like the idea of a one product website. You can do so much, right? Just could be a simple landing page. Maybe an opt-in, a landing page, a course sales page, and you don't have to, it could be like a very long page, right? Talking about the product, the story, it's not just like a quick sale.
Mm-hmm.
I think, or
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
You can find, you can find, basically find, and I know you come from an Amazon background, so this is a little bit
yeah, a little
different
more on Amazon.
than
Yeah,
than what Amazon sellers would do. But like for the strategy that I've been using, just to explain it to everybody, you can find products that are high perceived value, right? So maybe it only costs you $10 to source this item, but it's something that like let me think of an example. Say a beauty product, right? Maybe it's only $10 to source it, but you can sell it for $49.95, and so you have a good margin there. And you can, there's a great store out there. Some people might know, it's called Boom by Cindy Joseph. It was
yeah,
started by Ezra Firestone. He's super
yeah,
famous in the e-com world. So anyway, like his story is, he started with one product, that one original skincare product for women that are ages 45 and older, and then later expanded the product line to new things, so that now they have a completely niche store. But yeah, you can just start out with a simple store, that, like a long form sales page type of pit store, and then you have one product that has a higher perceived value, so that you have a decent average order value, and then you can scale from there.
yeah. I love it. I love it. I'm afraid to ask, but what do you think of the whole? Where are you sourcing still? China, Thailand, U.S., Philippines, or does it matter where your supply is from? Because
I
I know
still
so many
I
people do
still source
AliExpress,
from China.
so China are still okay, cool, and it's
Yeah,
going
I
okay,
wouldn't
even with
recommend
all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend AliExpress. AliExpress is a great place to find ideas. So is Amazon, but I wouldn't recommend sourcing from AliExpress because it's just unreliable. You know who you're going to get on the
Yeah,
supplier. But as you know, you can hook up with private suppliers in China just by doing your research, just by networking,
true.
and they'll be able to, get the item for you, source it for you in small bulk quantities. They can do a quality check. They can get you custom packaging. They can ship it out faster for you. So that's what
Great,
I'm using.
great.
I have a supplier in China.
Yeah, I love that. I'm happy. I was afraid to ask 'cause, yeah, I mean, AliExpress is I don't know. I feel like it's dangerous. Like I've done some AliExpress sites, and they work for a while, but then suddenly the supplier is out of stock, or doesn't respond. I don't know. I mean, it's a little risky sometimes. So I think it's another point to do less product quantity, right? Like quality. So you're and having a better relationship with your supplier, whether I mean anywhere really, but China or anywhere. So I think like just to kind of summarize your advice, like have a solid connection with that supplier, and then yeah, you can still even take some stock. Like you said, maybe take a small quantity. They go to like a marketplace. There's tons of markets in China, so they might be near like Yiwu or Huaqiangbei or maybe some Guangzhou markets, maybe. And then they're like a sourcing agent. They can help you. Yeah, like you said, check the product, ship the product. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
good. That's good advice. I like that. Um, any insights where you think somebody could find that now online, or I guess still go to AliExpress or Alibaba or maybe Global Sources, something like that.
Yeah, you could go to Alibaba for sure, and start a conversation there. I mean, that can work. And there are also, I guess, companies that are now like they do this to work with drop shippers, and basically be that middleman between, like one big one is called CJ Dropshipping. There's another one that I personally use, which I don't mind sharing. They're called Yakiofi.
Cool.
And they have no minimum order quantity, right? So you can still test a product with them. They'll source it for you, and it's going to be longer shipping times because you're not carrying inventory. But once you see that that product sells, you can ask them to bring stock into their warehouse. Like say you just get 100 orders at a time and they bring the stock into the warehouse. That way you can get much faster shipping time because it's 24-hour turnaround on the shipment.
Great. Sorry, and maybe I missed it. Cut maybe when you said supplier, or at least I didn't hear it clearly.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's several of them, but the two I mentioned are CJ Dropshipping and Yakiofi, are two that I use that people can look up if they want.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks for sharing that, Nick. It is really helpful. Okay, let's move forward. So yeah, like you said, so your specialty, I've seen some of your presentations is Facebook ads with, and for e-commerce sellers with usually drop shipping. So you have this margin, like you're talking about like a fashion and beauty product, $10 product cost, 49, $50 retail price. So then you have that $40 margin.
Hmm.
What do you think somebody should look at for margins? There's always that race to the bottom, right? I mean, what kind of numbers should somebody put on there, like their ad budgets and spending, or what's a good campaign versus a bad campaign?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. One of the reasons that margin is so important is because a lot of people don't understand, like when you're marketing on Facebook and you're using paid advertising, a good cost per purchase, like what you're spending to acquire a customer is going to be in the range of $20 to $25, right? At any sort of scale, like if you're getting customers for $20 to $25, then that's good. But obviously, in order to do that, you need to be able to have a margin of more than that to be profitable, right? So that's why you generally want to have products that you're selling that are high perceived value so you can have at least a $35 margin on the product, which is what I like to see.
Great.
Um, but when it comes to running the campaigns, yeah, you actually don't need a lot. People are always surprised by this. I make videos about this all the time from showing like how I do it. You can start with $5 ad sets, right? Like when you're creating audience by audience, you can do $5 ad sets. Um,
uh
was that my
with my
point?
side. China and Philippines internet combined is a little tricky. Do you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. It looks like it's kind of refreshing, um, but yeah, so I was just saying that $5 ad sets work to start. The big thing with Facebook is it's not when you're in a testing phase, right? You're just trying to prove a concept, see if something works with your ad. It's more important to test a lot of audiences than it is to spend a lot of money on just one audience, right? Like you can test your audiences at $5 a day, but it's more important to be testing at least 10 to 20 audiences at $5 a day, as opposed to say, I'm just going to test 5 audiences at $20 a day, right? That's what I've found is really works well, and not just for me, for everybody that I've shown that tests this way as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the most valuable part, right? Like finding your product market fit, finding your, defining the right ad campaigns. The beginning is everything in life or in business is always, that takes the most patience and the most tweaking and time, right? Um, I guess the next follow up of that is, what is how to know when you're how much time do you give it, or how long do how do you know what's working, what's not working, or how long do you run this for usually?
Yeah, so my testing stage is, because that's part of the game, right? Even if you're building a one product store and you're doing your research, you're not always going to hit everything 100% of the time. So my testing stage is taking about 10 to 20 audiences, usually 20 audiences, and setting them all up at $5 a day, and then letting them run for 3 to 5 days. It really depends on your KPIs, right? Because you have certain numbers you want to be looking at. Like you want to know first of all what your margin is, because your margin is your target acquisition cost, right? So if you have a $30 margin on the product and you're running at $5 a day, then the most I'm going to test these audiences is up to 6 days, because if they don't have a purchase by the time they hit the target acquisition cost, I'm going to turn it off. So you're just kind of testing from I would say probably a 3 to 7 day period, depending on what your margin on the product is, and you're turning off different ad sets or different audiences as you see they aren't performing.
Got it. No, this is really valuable. Thanks, Nick, for sharing with us today these insights. um are you like, so then I remember there was a conversation, maybe even one of your sessions, there's a niche and there's a product, right? So I think if I remember hearing this somewhere, but maybe you could try multiple products in the same niche until maybe you pick a niche, but then you choose a product that doesn't work, you go to another product in that same niche. So then hopefully you can kind of leverage some of your work, because to start from scratch with a new site or a new, new everything, maybe you could use the same, are you rotating products maybe and staying in the same like site or the same, kind of target market? Is that
Yeah,
something you would do?
for me the niche depends on so I like a couple categories that are I think are always good categories. Right now in Q4, so everybody knows, well, maybe not everybody, but Q4 is a special kind of trend in and of itself, because it's very geared towards holiday gift items. And also, of course, winter being part of Q4, it brings a whole trend of apparel that always does well this time of year. So that's not really a niche, but when it comes to Q4, those types of products, if you can find products that are be good gift ideas, or products that are good for winter as some sort of apparel or something that's needed. I really like home and garden as a niche as well.
Yeah.
There's always lots of product ideas all year round, and you just want to look at the time of year it is, the season of the year for whatever country you're selling in. Because this is a worldwide opportunity, by the way. I've built stores that sell in different languages, right? So you don't have to sell in just the United States. You could be selling in your own country, wherever you want to go, as long as you can ship products there, then you're fine. But anyway, so like in the US coming up in March, we know it's going to be springtime. There's so many products that are good in the home and garden niche when springtime comes around, right? And right now, one of the products I have that's doing really well is apparel. I mean, apparel is always going to be one of the biggest categories. The thing is, can you find something unique, right? Can you find something that's super unique about it, or that has to do with the trend? Like this one is something to do with warm, like warm clothing for people, that is good for this time of year. So yeah, I think that you can rotate within the same niche as long as you're picking a big category. I think people tend to overcomplicate the choices. I would stick to the categories that are selling. Home and garden, women's apparel is always going to be a good category. Health and beauty, these are like the biggest categories, and they're always going to be. And there's always new product ideas coming into these categories.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. I feel same. Like you start to know a niche, right? You know that market, you know the products, you know so like you look at the suppliers, or maybe your supplier gives you a product idea. Which goes to the next kind of like a follow up question. I'm kind of just adjusting as I go, but one idea is, where do you get new product ideas from your market, from your supplier? I guess it's just natural, right? Like you're just selling, and then you just see opportunities. And how do you usually grow your product line?
Yeah, so a couple answers to that. One is definitely it's important to look at trends. Like right now, I'm working on a supplements brand for 2021 that has to do with the trend of people wanting to get better sleep, right? Because that's a big trend in the market right now, especially for entrepreneurs and high achievers. They want to get deep sleep. They want to get the optimal. So, that's like by looking at trends and just seeing what's going on in the market. I think that's always important. Two is doing the research. So when it just comes to drop shipping in general, I actually have a team now that kind of does that for me. I mean, I still look and keep my, ear to the grindstone, as they say. But that's just a matter of looking at the markets. Amazon is a fantastic place to look because a lot of people think if a product is on Amazon, then they can't go and sell it themselves, and that's just simply not true. You can find good product ideas on Amazon by looking in the movers and shakers, the best sellers, the most wished for. You can find ideas there and then build your own store around it. Like there's a difference because Amazon has its own search volume already, but
Yeah.
when you go to Facebook and you get a really cool video ad made that displays this product, you can reach a whole new market of people, and a lot of those people are just going to come to your store and they'll buy, right? Like they'll, as long as you do a good job creating high quality content, then that's why Amazon can work as an excellent place to do research and get ideas. And then when you have a product that's selling, yeah, you can just start going around and looking at the related products. You can do that on AliExpress. You can do that on Amazon. And you can also just think about like what would make sense with this, right? Like if you're selling a pair of leggings, then it makes sense to have an upsell for more leggings, or maybe an upsell for a different color, or maybe an upsell for a hoodie, right? Like there's things that just make sense. When you're in a certain category. So I think that part has a little bit to do with like, and you can also pull your customers too, right? You can actually, if you're delivering a quality product and your customers like it, then you're going to have no trouble sending out emails to customers or just listening to the feedback from your customers about what might work well with this, or what else do they want to see from the store. You can use your email list to get ideas, to even test ideas, right? You could you could find a new product and create just a quick, dirty landing page for it on your store, mark it for a flash sale, 50% off, and send an email blast and see, are people interested in this? Or are they not interested in this?
Yeah, that's great. We're talking about, Amazon doesn't have the luxury of building email lists. So, that's actually one advantage of, selling on your own store, or, doing, not doing Amazon, because there's tricks, not tricks, but you can do rebate cards, or you can do inserts in the package and hope they opt in after. But obviously, that's one advantage of drop shipping, or just doing your own e-commerce store, is you get your customer list, so you can do stuff like you're saying, which sometimes Amazon sellers can't do so easily. Um, but I love it. Yeah, I mean, I love reading negative reviews on products in Amazon. I just you look at what people don't like, and then what doesn't work for them. And so we have a question from somebody in our in our membership, Travis from he's a new member, actually. Really happy. He's at mercury.com. Is doing e-commerce growth there. Shout out to mercury.com. They're actually, it's a really good online, I'm afraid to say banking, but online financial solution for e-commerce sellers in with US companies. So he's asking about platforms to dropship on or recommend, like Amazon. I don't think dropshipping on Amazon is a little bit dangerous, right? So usually you're doing it on like a Shopify store, with Facebook ads. That's usually, I think that's the most common, or what would you say?
I use Shopify. Shopify is so simple to set up, easy to use, very user friendly. They have really good free themes that you can set up. And yeah, like I wanted to add, I guess, because I just thought of this as you were talking about Amazon. These Facebook ad strategies are strategies that are universal, right? Like you could have a product on Amazon and be doing well with it, but there's no reason you couldn't run traffic to it. I've seen people run traffic to a landing page where they get people to opt in for the discount, and then it redirects them to the Amazon page.
Yep, yep,
Or you could expand your brand onto a Shopify store and have multiple channels. So I
for
think that
sure.
it's smart either way, to be taking advantage of Facebook ads and using that traffic.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, I don't think I mean, I'll say it myself. I don't recommend dropshipping on Amazon. I think they really frown
Mhm.
upon it. I know there's people that do it. You could dropship on Amazon because using the FBM, fulfilled by merchant, and not FBA. Just to answer the question, yeah, because you mentioned Amazon. Usually, Amazon sellers are using FBA, which means fulfilled by Amazon, which means it's in Amazon's warehouse already. So that means you had to buy it already and put it there. And usually, it's a larger quantity. But you could do fulfilled by merchant (FBM), and then you could technically drop ship. But I think Amazon technically doesn't like it. Definitely doesn't like it. I don't know if they technically banned it or not, but you can get in trouble on Amazon if you don't ship within like 1 or 2 days. I think after the customer buys, so it's just a little bit dangerous usually to try to drop ship on Amazon. Just to give that clear feedback to that question. So, yeah, usually people are drop shipping like Nick are on using Shopify or ecom stores, using social advertising, especially Facebook. But it could be anything. It could be I know some people doing Reddit ads. You could do Google ads. You
Mhm.
know, um, I think just to simplify it a little bit more. I mean, drop shipping is a type of e-commerce. But it's basically you have a shopping cart and you have a way to get traffic to that page, right? And then most people nowadays are doing paid traffic um, to that page and then converting it. And then, like you said, Shopify, right? So Shopify, makes it really easy to have plugins and pretty fast, pretty good, like you said, themes and things like that. So that's usually the most common way.
Mhm.
Thanks, Travis. Is there other questions? We could also bring some people up on stage. We're going to go maybe 5-10 more minutes, and then those in the session we can do some live networking if that's okay. Nick has a little bit more time. I know he's busy building his
No,
ecom empire.
that's that's
Awesome.
fine. And to add to what you said, like I love what you said there, that drop shipping is just a form, it's just a business model, right? And drop shipping is meant to evolve, right? Drop shipping is really the starting point of testing a product. But then, like you said, you could, if you have a product that's working and a brand that's working, you could bring your own inventory to Amazon. I personally don't sell on Amazon, but I know people that have done that. Or you could bring your inventory to the US using a 3PL, right? Like there's multiple companies that you can ship in bulk, they'll receive it, and then you can integrate with your Shopify store. WooCommerce you could use that as well. A lot of people like to
Yeah,
use
I'm a
WooCommerce.
WooCommerce guy.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, it's just a business model. It's just a way to easily, with a low barrier of entry, get started. But it's a real business model because it's very scalable. Like it's very, not everybody does it, but it's very, I don't know any other business model that you could scale to $1 million in sales as quickly as you can with drop shipping, other than maybe say digital products, right? Like it's
True.
something that once you lock in a funnel that's working, whether that's going to and a funnel could be as simple as going to the product page and then they go to the cart and they check out, right? But once that is working and you're using something like Facebook or Google or both, I like to use both actually, but Facebook is just so scalable to me. I've never, like, I've been able to do well with Google, but I've just never been able to, again, when Facebook is working, I don't know any other traffic source that you can just scale so quickly. Like if you have money, if you have credit, which you should use credit, by the way, if you have credit, then you can just, it's like throwing fuel on a fire. You can literally take off so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, yeah, also just to kind of, it's cool to bounce back and forth. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people say I'm an Amazon seller, I'm a drop shipper, but those are just channels, right? So that's why, I mean, you use ecom in your brand. I mean, I usually like to say ecom. E-commerce is more the big picture, but it's really just commerce, right? It's selling a physical product online, and drop shipping is a supply chain solution for you, like you said, without as much upfront. Like, I think the next level is wholesale, right? Wholesale, you buy like a carton, like 100 pieces or 50 pieces, right? Then the next level is like, you know, private label, which is kind of what we talk a lot about here in a community. Private label means you're actually buying like 1,000 pieces, putting your own logo, branding, sending it into Amazon, or, you know, even in your own warehouse, you know. And then we don't talk about too much, but you could do a Kickstarter, right? Then that's like a whole new thing. We've had people talk about that in the community. That's where you actually invent your own products, like a new invention, right? Crowdfunding. So they all cross back and forth. You know, you can evolve from one to the other. And there's also affiliate, even above drop shipping, right? You could just be an affiliate and just send traffic uh, to, you know, Amazon or to another site for a commission, which is the lowest risk because you don't even have to have the transaction happen on your shopping cart. So yeah, I mean, I love that you know, we're bouncing back and forth, but a lot of people get stuck at the beginning, like, how do I get started? How do I pick a product? But I think the biggest lesson people should take is it's about taking action, right? And it's about testing, you know, and you're saying like $5, $10, $20 a day on ads. Of course, you got to find a product supplier, build out a Shopify site. But yeah, I mean, within a week or so, you could get some customers or at least get some data and know what's working and what's not, right? And then, but I know it's overwhelming. I know, you know, obviously you've been doing it so many years and others. So I understand it's overwhelming for people, but it's really just like experimenting. You're like a scientist, right? Like you're like,
Mhm.
they call it growth hacking, right? You're like kind of just trying to find that spark. And then, like you said, once you find what's converting, then you just increase, like you said, into Facebook and scale it, right?
Kickstarter is actually a great place to research as well, because that is basically the one product format, right? They're doing it a different way, but they're just selling one product on a long form sales page with high quality content, and a video usually and a video ad. So Kickstarter is actually a great place to get ideas and to see when you look at good Kickstarter campaigns to see the type of products that sell and also how they are crafting the content and the copy to make it sell. Because I agree. I think where, you know, one of the things that I find interesting, and I've worked with a lot of people now, I think where people tend to overcomplicate things sometimes is it's like when we enter into a business model like this, selling online, it's like we take off our human hat and we put on this marketer hat of who we want to be and how we want to talk and what we want to write. And I find a lot of times people are just picking products that, like, if you were to just step back and think about it like an actual consumer, like, and actually think about, okay, let me take my marketing hat off and put my human hat on and think, would I buy this? Would I really buy this? Would I really be excited about this product? Would I really trust this store that I just built? You know, like, sometimes it doesn't even pass the test. It's like we get into this mode where we're trying to be clever or we're trying to, like, you know, sometimes you just have to think about it. Like, is this product something that genuinely provides a lot of value or solves a problem or is really cool or is going to make people go, wow, I need that. That's so cool. You know, and that's why product research is one of the harder parts because it takes time. It's a process. But yeah, I think a lot of times people just kind of don't have the right criteria. Like, they're just being random about it instead of putting their product ideas through, you know, a series of questions to test if this is really a good product to be selling.
Yeah, agreed. It's one thing I should have added, but you're probably investing in photos and your own descriptions, right? You're not just, I mean, people could just take them from AliExpress or something, but usually to really succeed, I would say, like, you're investing in a unique product description, title, right? Like, kind of like the user experience. Like, that's your job, I think, as a drop shipper, right? Is presentation, presenting this to your customer in a good way.
Yeah, presentation super important. I think that's one of the areas where a lot of people fail, and it's one of the reasons why a one product store works well, or even a niche store. You know, niche stores work too, but you can create high quality branded content. And it's one of the reasons why the general store method, as you mentioned earlier, is kind of dying a slow death because there's no brand, there's no value, and the market is just saturated with them at this point. But when you create that brand value there, and yeah, you can. I mean, ordering the product is a fantastic idea. You can actually then get real shots of it, real images of it. Or if you hire a talented graphic designer, you can probably get that done without ordering the product, which is generally what
Mm,
we do. I have somebody that will go through and create really good content for everything. If it's a brand new product that nobody's ever seen or heard of, then yeah, you might need to order it to get that content made. But yeah, it's so important, and copy too. You know, one of the things that I've done over the years that I can say has directly impacted my success is studying copywriting. It's such an important skill to have. I think it's one of the top skills anybody can have that wants to sell online.
I would agree with that totally. Yeah, I mean, you always use, my first couple hours every morning is writing, creating,
Mhm.
even writing email. I try to put in my morning, writing out, content. It's very important. Uh, there's some really good copywriters to learn from, the old school guys too. You don't even need to read the new stuff, right? Just learn the old stuff is actually sometimes better. But this has been fascinating, Nick. Maybe we can give a little shout out to your community. You have an amazing Facebook group and website. Well, how can people find more about you and what you do?
Yeah, sure. I appreciate it, man. So the group is called Ecom Empires. You can see it there in my little tagline under my name. So if you just search it on Facebook, you'll be able to find it. And there's a lot of great free content in there. I know people tend to be skeptical of stuff. And should good for a good reason. There's a lot of terrible content out there on drop shipping, but I have a lot of videos in there that I've just recorded for free where I talk about my strategies and show
Oh,
like actual examples of running ads. You know, so if anybody wants to get a little bit more deep dive into Facebook ads, I have. And on my YouTube channel as well, I have completely free videos in there where I actually show inside my ad accounts and show you the way that I run my ads so you can see that I actually do what I talk about and like how it actually works as well, the overall strategy.
yeah, it's a breath of fresh air. I mean, like you said, dropship does have a bad name. I don't know if you'd agree, it has got a bad rap, man, on the internet, because there's a lot of people that are yeah, like selling a dream, because like you can, you say
Hmm.
like it's no low upfront investment, make money, it can attract that kind of kind of vibe, but yeah, it's a business model and it's a great one definitely to get started, and you can grow it. You can go wholesale, Amazon, Kickstarter, and it's been really a pleasure to have you on the show finally, Nick. You've been on my list for a while, and glad to make this happen. And we'll link this up on the show notes, and then just stay right here. If you're on the live call, we're gonna go to networking, so it'll be in this table mode, and then I think it'll just be one or two tables. But Nick, if you can we'll just hang out with a couple other people here, for those on the group. Thanks everybody for tuning into the live stream and the podcast, and it's a pleasure. Till next time.
Yeah, thank you.
We're just restarting our new GFA VIP masterminds. We're making groups of around 6 people per group. We have a group now for the Amazon sellers. We have another group for B2B trading and a little bit more service side, and we're making more groups. If you want to get any insight on what we're doing, we do these right now the first and third Tuesday of each month, and we're working on, it's more a little bit Asia Europe time, but we're working on a US friendly time too. We'd love to have people in the community join us. Check it out at gfavip.com. Thank you. Thank you, Nick, for sharing. We actually tried to do that in person. I didn't know if I said that here, but we were both in Manila at the time, and I think we almost had a date but I think I was the one who had to cancel. He was still in Manila. He's in Cebu now, but I'm in China, and it was like evacuation in March 2020, so I didn't get to do this in person, but I still think we had an amazing opportunity to get him on the show, and I hope all of you enjoyed that amazing value that he has shared with us. He had a lot of fun, and maybe we'll have him on again or get more involved in other types of things we do here at Global from Asia. So thanks again, Nick. I said in the intro I would share some of my insights doing dropshipping at the beginning, and my story started in 2004. I was working in Wall Street in New York City at the time. And I really, like I think I said maybe in an interview or I've said sometimes, I had no idea what I was doing, I'll be honest. I was starting to do internet marketing. I was starting to do website marketing with an app company my friend started. And I was joining on to his startup while we were both working the 9 to 5 in banking. We both wanted to do startups. So I started learning about like growth hacking. That's a whole nother story. But basically I got advertisements. I remember I saw an ad on my Yahoo Mail. And it was like a banner that says like, oh, it was a Holiday Inn in New York City on, I think it's like 29th Street, maybe, near Penn Station, for those that might be familiar with Manhattan. And I was sitting there with my friend and my roommate, Andrew, and I was like, hey, Andrew, do you want to go to this free seminar about how to make money online? He's like, dude, what is wrong with you? I was like, I think they give you free lunch. I think they offered free lunch. So we signed up and we went. And, there was a huge room in this seminar, right? It's like the classic, sell in the back of the room kind of thing. And they're like some dudes up on stage. Actually, it was really valuable. He was sharing about his dropship business of selling these basically making juice out of vegetables. So he sold these machines that you could just like grind celery or grind things. There's actually a term for that, but he was showing how much money he made and how he was growing his business without having inventory and getting everybody excited. And then there was like sales rep taking in the back of the room. Like I remember they were like, I was sitting there in this hotel conference room in New York City, and there's a saleswoman comes up to me. She's like, oh, would you like to sit with us and back and talk about your opportunity? It's like this real... So I have this wall. I'm like, I'm not signing up for this. No way. And they're not going to get me. And we went, and Andrew went with me. I think they let us go together in this seminar room, meeting room in the back of the training seminar. And I was, Andrew was more open. He's all excited. I'm like, man, I'm not a sucker. I'm not going to get into this scam. I'm not going to like sign up for this. And so we left, right? And it's like it was a Saturday, I believe, Saturday afternoon. And we're walking back to our Manhattan apartment, and Andrew was still saying, man, we should do this. And then I'm like, we just said, okay, let's do it 50-50. And I don't know what street we're on, maybe 28th and 3rd Avenue, something like that. We're on a street corner in Manhattan. And I'm like, okay, so I think we just shook on it. We just said, let's do this. I'll do the marketing. He was going to do like logistics and the kind of like the operations, and I would do the marketing and the promotions because I was excited I was already doing website marketing. We go back to the hotel room, and they were cleaning up, and they were like, wow, we got these suckers, and they're like fighting over us. And we signed up, and but we definitely thought about it, and man, it was really no idea. I mean, Overture then, for those that know Overture, before I don't know, somebody Google bought them. 2004, and I was watching CDs in the mail. They mailed you, or they maybe gave it to me when I signed up. There was like a old school binder, and CDs in the back and printouts, of like how to do online marketing, how to find drop shippers. It was like totally overloaded. Like I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, there's so much more to the story, but basically I got into the bar products roundabout through eBay and my website and Google ads or Overture ads. But I mean, actually, they went through a lot of lawsuits, that company. I won't say their names, just I'm not trying. I think they're already bankrupt, but I used their software, and honestly, I thank them. It was a few $1,000s, but there weren't so much class action lawsuits because a lot of people signed up for the software or their package at the back of these hotel rooms. They did this all around the U.S. They were getting people. They had some speaker talking about making money online, and they had salespeople in the back selling these packages, and they had. There's a whole scheme to it, but I thank them for it. A lot of people sued them. I think they didn't get money back, but they had horrible reviews online about scams, etc. But I don't call them a scam. I mean, I paid a few $1,000s. I had some software, some training. I had no clue what I was doing. And Andrew and I, we built our first e-commerce business that way. We didn't use the software after a couple of years, maybe a year or two we used it, but we upgraded to another shopping cart. But, I thank them for that. I don't know if I would have started. I remember even then, even in 2004, the guy on stage is like, it's not too late to do e-commerce, he says. And everybody's like, it's too late. You know, there are already too many sellers online. There's already too many e-commerce sellers. There's already too many websites. People were like having these limiting beliefs in the stage, you know, an audience. They're like, oh, it's too late. He's like, it's not too late. Man, this is 2004, man. 2004. I think it was like September 2004. And people thought it was too late to sell online. Can you believe that? It's 2000, almost 2021 right now. If you started then, we still have the site, but you know, if you had started back then, I mean, nobody knew what they were doing. Yeah, there was e-commerce stores and websites, but obviously the game has changed so much since then. So, you know, I bet you in 2030, I know there's gonna be people like me, you know, or podcasters. I hope I'm still podcasting in 2030, but you know, they're gonna say, if you started in 2020 or you started in 2021, 10 years ago, you would be, you know, I'm sure the game's gonna change. You know, I hope Amazon's still here, but you know, back then it was all eBay. It was all eBay 2004. I think Australia is still eBay, but you know, I think the main point is just take action. You know, I know it's scary. I know that there's risks. You know, it might take time. So many people I talk to, you know, they think it's easy, you know, and then that's why people get scammed. They sign up for these courses, these programs, and they don't do the work. I think most of the programs probably are good enough for you to get going. You know, anybody's course, anybody's program, it's mostly about you and you taking your own action. So I do hope that people take action, you know, and make things happen. Well, enough of the lecture, but that was a little bit my early stage start. You know, and then there's obviously so much to it. But, you know, I just jumped in there and I didn't complain. I didn't call the course a scam. I didn't call the software a scam. I actually engaged with others doing the same thing as me. I learned from others. I was networking and making things happen. So I hope that's something you can do. And I wish you the best in your business. See you next time.
To get more info about running an international business, please visit our website at www.globalfromasia.com. That's www.globalfromasia.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our iTunes feed. Thanks for tuning in.